Florida State would be one that I just consider to be a wild card, not in terms of challenging Clemson, but in terms of being back to not elite, but a participant in a major bowl game, a 10-2 type team. Or I just saw such a mess on offense that I don't know that Kendall Briles is going to fix it. And there's so many in really digging into the roster, even though the talent in the recruiting rankings seems to be very high. They've had a lot of attrition in various avenues. They've got like 4 roster running backs on the roster, and only one of them has experience in Cam Akers. So Florida State is a wild card team.
Agreed. I have them a top 15 overall most talented roster in college football. You bring in Alex Hornibrook from Wisconsin. Maybe he can stabilize the quarterback position for them. But, James Blackman wasn't too bad. He kind of saved their season a couple of years ago when they wanted to continue the bowl streak there before it got in Jimbo Fisher's final year. To me, Florida State and Miami have kind of had perennial the same question, just a different question. But we asked the same question about both of those teams the last few years. For Miami, it's, do they finally have a quarterback? And for those of us, you and I are about the same age who remember when they had Jim Kelly, Bernie Kosar, and Vinny Testaverde on the roster together. Kosar, Vinny Testaverde, Craig Erickson on the roster together. When one year in 1992, we had no clue who to give the Heisman to. So we're like, who the hell's playing quarterback for Miami? Give it to that guy. So they just gave it to Gino Torretta because he quarterbacked at Miami. It's incredible to believe that we are going on year 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 years in a row now. Boy, if Miami can only find a quarterback, but and so is it N'Kosi Perry? Tate Martell wasn't great in the spring, but he's trying to learn an entirely new offense. So we shall see. For Florida State, it's the offensive line again. We've pretty much been saying that since Jameis Winston left, and maybe they weren't that great when Jameis Winston was there. He just kind of disguised a lot of that. But for Florida State, it's been a perennial question: can they finally block some people? One of the reasons why that we saw James Blackman play 2 years ago as a 3-star recruit, as a true freshman, is their quarterback got murdered in the opening game against Alabama, and so they had no choice. So if they can piecemeal together a line with Cam Akers there at running back, I think we forgot how good he was, what kind of a big-time recruit he was, given the overall weakness of what's left of the ACC post-Clemson. I agree. I could see them being an Orange Bowl team. I could also see them getting Willie Taggart fired after year 2, a total wild card.
The hope I have for Miami fans is that when you've got 3 kids in camp, albeit they're inexperienced, aside from N'Kosi Perry's half season of experience that didn't fare well, 50% completion percentage, but you got 3 guys that were highly touted 4 and 5 stars in Tate Martell, Jaron Williams, and N'Kosi Perry, that if the coaching staff does the proper evaluation over the next month and selects the right guy that can grasp the offense, run it, has leadership skills, and is going to make the right read and the right throw, that you have 3 times the chance of being able to select the right guy. And even if he falters through 2 or 3 games, going to the next one, and you've got that security to safeguard you against injury, but also making the wrong selection or the right selection. You got 3 talented kids. And when you've got a top 15 to 20 roster and your competition in the division has recruiting rankings between 30 and 50,
right?
There's a lot to play with there, especially against a weak schedule.
Something to think about in that division, too, in the ACC Coastal. If Virginia wins it this year, and they bring back the best quarterback in Bryce Perkins, if Virginia wins it this year, then, we went through a thing in the NFL in the NFC South where a different team won it every year until they cycled all the way through the division. If Virginia wins that division this year, it'll be the 6th different. All 6 teams would have won that division in the last 6 years.